Hello there, and welcome to another instalment of the Networth Network. My name is Toby Street, I'm your host, and sitting next to me is Jeremy Harbour. Today we're talking about something which is, I think, on the tip of every single aspirational person's tongue when talking to somebody who's a very successful multimillionaire. And that is, what would you do if you had to start again? Where would you begin? If you were starting from absolute scratch. Now, obviously, we're not going to go into the personal balance sheet stuff right now because that's obviously something that is already in our minds. So at this point, we've already done all that stuff. That's already part of who we are. So what would be your immediate next step, Jeremy, if your reputation and your wealth was somehow overnight disappeared? What would be the first step?
Yeah, well, I think the easiest way to generate a quick lump of capital to invest and then generate the income to take you forward is clearly putting some kind of deal together where there's a big amount of money you can take from the outside.
Sure.
And I guess if you ask different people, they're all going to have a different solution. So if you ask somebody that does has one of these seminar training businesses, they would run a big seminar with loads of people in there, and that's how they would raise their money. If you asked, somebody that does automated marketing systems, they would build an automatic marketing system to generate the income. For me, obviously, I'm a deal guy. I think probably the easiest way I would see, or the lowest hanging fruit that I would see, would probably be in assisting a company with their exit. Probably the simplest way to do that is that you volunteer to help them get the best possible exit for their business in exchange for a stake in the business. And after you've got that stake, maybe you would help them merge with another business to get them bigger, and that's how you would increase the
So
value
in terms of looking
pot.
after your immediate day-to-day, you'd ask for some kind of retainer
You could
for
do,
the next couple of months?
At the moment, I always put my money where my mouth is and go equity only, but yes, it would be very easy to get a retainer
if you're starting from scratch.
Yeah, if you approached a company and said, effectively, look, I think that let's say it's the typical £1 million turnover, 100,000 profit company. They might be worth 400,000, 500,000 if they're lucky as a small business. So you might say, look, if you give me 20% of the business, I'll get the overall business, I'll get your percentage, your bit that's left, up to double that.
Yeah, sure.
And then there's a whole load of financial engineering tricks that we teach on the Harbour Club that I could implement that would probably double their profit in a typical 1 million turnover, 100 grand company. Plus I might look at merging with one or two other companies to give the scale to widen the audience for a potential exit, and it would be very easy to own 20% of that exit when it happened and make kind of six figures from that transaction, and actually relatively quick to put together. So you could probably have all the companies together in 2 or 3 months, and if you allowed another 2 or 3 to maybe 6 months at the outside for the exit, you've done everything in under a year.
And I'll always remember reading Theo Paphitis' biography, and he talks about having, I think he called it shit hit the fans money, where he literally stores 100 grand under his pillow.
Right, okay.
And so
Where does he live?
when he lost everything, when he lost everything, he then went and lived on a barge for a year.
Right.
Just to clear his head. Do you think you'd take any time out if you lost everything?
Well, I did. When I was 19, I went bust, and I took 3 months, moved back in with my parents, and kind of contemplated what to do next, and then went full bore into starting a business again. So yeah, it is quite good to have that time. And I think one of the things you realise is actually that it is all a game, and it's not that important. And the tightrope was only 6 inches off the ground. It doesn't hurt when you fall. All of those kind of cliches. But it's actually quite a healthy thing to go through, because until you've experienced the downside, you don't A, appreciate the upside, but also B, you don't know how to get yourself back out of situations. And if you don't get yourself out of a situation fairly young and have to fix that problem, maybe it will happen when you're older, and then I can imagine it being a much more life-destroying event.
That's probably quite
later on
a big thing to talk about, actually. If we're talking about restarting and almost a reset, what you mentioned there with a tightrope being just 6 inches off the ground, I think is really valuable. Most people, if you're in a difficult situation, you kind of think you're on a cliff edge, and when it all goes tits up, you're going to fall and it's going to hurt. And what Jeremy's kind of saying is that actually, the next day you wake up,
You've still got all your arms and legs.
And you realise
not a lot has really changed. So.
Fundamentally, none of this is kind of real in a sense, and actually it's the stability that you have in your mind and the clarity that you have in your mind which is the most crucial thing. So if you learn this stuff, kind of doesn't matter what happens to you in a fiscal manner, you've always got it. And as Jeremy's saying, he could go out and do a deal tomorrow if he lost everything, and within 6-12 months probably be a multi-millionaire again, or at least a millionaire.
I mean, well, there's a chap I know over in Bali called Roger Hamilton, who you may or may not have come across through various things. But one of his little quotes is, wealth is what you have when they take your money away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is a great way of describing, if you win the lottery, that doesn't make you wealthy, that just means you have money. And if you take that money away from that lottery winner, they have no way of getting that back.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas if you take money from a wealthy person, they can get it back very easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that ability to create wealth that's real wealth.
Fantastic. Okay, guys. Well, I think that's a really valuable kind of takeaway. Whatever you're going through right now, it doesn't necessarily have to be the kind of end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a recovery, and as we've talked about in another video, even if you're facing something like bankruptcy, it's there's always a recovery from something as bad as that, as bad as it may seem. If this if this video has been valuable to you, then please do enter your details below if you're not already on our mailing list. We would love to be able to talk to you more often. We send out loads of content every single week, including one of these kinds of videos, and they're short, snappy, really to the point, and hopefully incredibly valuable to you. So we will hopefully see you very, very shortly. Thanks very much.
Thank you.